Welcome and hello and welcome and hello and welcome and hello and welcome and hello. It is, in fact, Un Poco Mas, the show where we give you just that little bit more, just that something extra, just that sort of intangible, ephemeral greatness where I just dig down deep into the nether regions of my taint and come up with yet another just riveting broadcast for the three or four of you losers with small enough wings and small enough portfolios to tune into this broadcast. Anyway, guys, welcome and hello and welcome. Of course, it is UnPocoMas. They do call me Little Danny Cornbread DiCarlo because I am moist, doughy, and I crumble under pressure. They call me the tugboat for obvious reasons. They call me Danny Shakes, and if you have to ask why, you are entitled to a full refund. Of course, they call me Stubby Cohiba due to an unfortunate manscaping accident I had with a Vitamix blender down in South Florida. So anywhere down there, they call me Stubby Cohiba or Stubby Macanudo, depending on what day I'm doing this bit, because I can very rarely remember the names of those cigars. When I was a relief pitcher back in the early 1980s for the Montreal Expos, I went by Tabasco Rojas. Of course, guys, as you know, I'm an idiot with a very short attention span. So one of my favorite things to do is just make up idiotic nicknames and backstories. It's really, a relief pitcher for the Montreal Expos named Tabasco Rojas. Please. I was a, fat Hispanic rather than a fat white guy. I would have a lot more credibility. I don't know what the hell's going on with my thing. Is this not a lurker clicking around? I think not a lurker's getting into Grandpa's cough medicine again. Clicking around. What's up, not a lurker? Good to see you. Let's go indeed. We got the great Vin here, the great Vin. Of course, he's the guy who invented that number that goes on the dashboard of all your cars. What's up? What's going on, Vin? Good to see you. Let's shop this works. Let's hope this works out. Sorry, I was trying to do bumper stumpers, but I'm too stupid. I'm going to heavy buy SOFI. Yeah, SOFI. This is what I was talking about, guys. I want you to stress test your runners. A lot of you guys are sitting on really solid gains. If you're not, you got to work through it. But for you guys that are like way up on a lot of these stocks, you have to separate, wheat from the chaff, curd from the whey. I don't know what the hell it is. The cream from the whey. I don't know. Somebody's making yogurt, somebody's making wheat. I'm lactose and I have no idea. I think there's some chaff. You don't want the chaff. It's like an always sunny bit. But anyway, it's extremely important that, a lot of people are like, okay, just go to cash. You can't fight the trend. I think there's so much nuanced information where, a lot of people really go at the market more with like a scalpel these days than a baseball bat, than like a blunt instrument. And to me, you have to scrutinize your runners, especially if you're up like 5x, 10x, even 20x on some of these stocks, such as like Palantir. Even Hood, 15x is possible, 10x for a lot of people. And, God bless, but you can't spend memories. You have to look at, when everything's running up and, crypto's going up and everybody's pushing money into the market, even bad stuff can go up, even stuff that's not real. And what do I mean by real? Is it going to earn money? If you look at historical multiples, the market is way overbought. Everybody's saying we're in a bubble, but people are saying it's not a bubble. It's a real groundswell of productivity and sort of additional value being added to the market, added to the world, added to society by AI, that all of this run up is justified. And what I'm saying to you is there's absolutely no way that's true. In some cases it is, but you have to be selective and say NVIDIA, yes, because this is the way I like to look at it. If a stock has insane EPS multiples, they should also have insane growth rates, and they should also have insane margins to back those up. Now, if they have sober but good solid multiples like a SOFI, they have really, really strong growth and really strong margins, but the word is consistency. Guys, this is SOFI quarterly revenue. I've really never seen anything like this. Going back to 2020, they're under 200 million. And, just over the course of 4 years, They increased their quarterly revenues more than 3x. And what's about to happen with SoFi is the EPS growth is about to catch up with the revenue growth and the EBITDA growth. And you're going to see SoFi EPS explode way beyond, the projections that everybody thought were pie in the sky, 55 to 80 cents. 80 cents, these nuts, Playboy. Know what I mean? But this is why I'm very comfortable buying SoFi. This is why I was just very comfortable buying that big dip on Palantir, even though, I'm buying multiple times my cost basis in the case of SoFi and way, way above my, average cost basis in the case of Palantir. It's because I believe these stocks are going to be huge, game-changing, long-term winners. I believe SoFi is frankly going to be a longer-term winner, bigger winner than even Robinhood, because I believe their growth is more durable, more consistent. I've said it for a long time. It's SoFi savers versus Robinhood traders. And I think when the rug pull comes, I'm not saying it's going to come, but when it comes, I think SoFi is a lot more able to handle it because they're a bank, because they have deposits, because they're more diversified. I think they're one of the best laid out companies, one of the best managed companies, the best devised companies, the best business models to handle downturns, to handle stress. And, they've proven it. They've been battle tested when they, pulled student loans, which I think was actually very fortuitous in a lot of ways because it forced the company to change perhaps far more rapidly than they otherwise would have. But perhaps the plan was a lot of people are upset SoFi doesn't go fast enough. They don't innovate fast enough. I think that's hogwash. This company's only been public for like 5 years. That is not very long. They only got out of being this little tiny student loan company in the 2020s. And a lot of that was COVID, and they just grow right through it. The consistency is incredible. Look at any of these other fintechs. The growth doesn't look anything like this. They have huge ups and downs, huge volatility. They're dependent on, much more single source types of revenues, much more dependent on single partners, where SoFi's tentacles are basically springing out in a ton of different directions. It's more of like a root system. It's more durable. It's not your tap root. It's like a, coconut palm, or just spreads out like a spider web. Ends up lifting your patio up. Mrs. gets pissed off. You end up having to go down to the Home Depot, wrench you a jackhammer, get you about 300 bags of Quikrete, end up throwing your back out, get your whole coccyx and wiener out of alignment. Next thing you know, you're doing physical therapy, losing a testicle. Tale as old as time. I know we've all been there. So stress test your runners, guys. Look at the EPS. If you look at the EPS, you're like on Palantir, the EPS makes no sense, but it's AI. Okay, how does AI get to the bottom line? How does it make sense to buy at that valuation versus buying SoFi at the current valuation? Or so many other stocks that I think are reasonably, have a reasonable valuation based upon the earnings, the growth, and the eventual margin. That's really all you have to look at. What is the growth? How fast can they continue growing? What are their margins? It doesn't matter if they're selling AI or pancakes. Money's money. And I think everybody's chasing this AI like fools. Well, there's going to be winners and losers. Now, I have no problem buying SMCI. I have no problem buying, NVIDIA even though I think it's a rich valuation, but it's a rich valuation for a reason because their earnings are there to back it up. Look at it this way. Like if there's a gold rush, NVIDIA is the company selling you the mining equipment. They're selling you the sluices and the picks and the shovels. Their profit is 100% guaranteed because these companies are going to keep spending money to basically explore and mine for gold. They don't know if they're ever going to find gold, but it doesn't matter because NVIDIA is already being paid because they sell the mining equipment to the miners, and the miners go out and take all the risk. That's the company you want to be in long term. Low risk, high reward, high growth, highly consistent, great management, great business model, future proof, great hair, look good in a windbreaker, have a fat illegitimate son, approximately your own age, you refuse to acknowledge. preferably all of the above if this is a multiple guess test. I did so good in multiple choice. I'm like, BC, 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 BC. I'm like, what are you, a fan of the New Testament? I'm like, no, I'm taking a multiple choice test. Got 50% last time. That's pretty good. 20 more points, I'll be able to get past fail. Oh my goodness, we have been graced by the great Princess J, the greatest of the greats, the viewer, the only viewer that matters. You worthless turds. Thank you, sweetheart. Thanks for stopping by, classing up the joint. Who's this? Hopefully it's not a lurker. Absolutely. Thank you, not a lurker. We will once again shout out the greatest, the great Princess J. We love you, sweetheart. I love you in particular, but I know the entire audience loves you because they know you have been subjected to the UnPocoMas treatment 24 hours a day. It's just not fair. You're a saint, honey. You're a saint. We love you. I love you. Anyway, let's see. We're all working hard. We're all burning the midnight oil. You guys pay your taxes? Hope so. Tomorrow's the day, guys. Don't get them penalties. Can't pay somebody. Pay the state. Don't pay the IRS is so reasonable. The feds, they charge you like half a percentage or something. Like, oh my God, I owe the IRS money. It's like, chill out, dude. Your credit card rate's like 3 times the interest they're going to charge you. You can call up and chat with your rep at the IRS. They'll totally help you out. Like, come on, I can't pay that. Like, okay, what can you pay? I'm like, I could pay you $25 a week. My son brings me soup. Wait, aren't you a middle-aged man? I'm like, yeah, I'm doing a bit. Doing like a Jewish grandmother. My son Maury comes by. He sells electronics. Should have gone to law school. Could have at least been an accountant. I don't know. I'm doing my best, not a lurker. She tries to keep me in line. Does what she can. Provides healthy food, good advice. I often don't follow. Don't eat. Sneaking off, getting an order of chicken strips. Hey, what's up? No, I'm just down at the gym. Trying to see if I can somehow in one trip combine Chick-fil-A sauce and horsey sauce. Trying to find an errand route that takes me by a distant Arby's. There's no Arby's near me anymore. There's no fat people by the beach, guys. Anybody ever notice that? There's just no fat people by the beach. I don't know what to say. So yeah, if you're going to basically do an AI play, I don't know why you don't want to be the people building the data centers rather than the people paying for the data centers. Now, that's not to say I wouldn't invest in Meta or Google I love Microsoft. I think it's very fairly valued. I like Google. I think it's a fair price. So it's had a really strong run, just pulled back a little bit, a good opportunity to buy. But I think Google, again, it's going to own the future because they own the data. I think they're adapting quite well. I think their AI presence is undervalued, as is their cloud presence. I think Google's doing a lot of things right, sort of undercover. Now, Microsoft is doing everything right in the light of day, growing all their business segments, just absolutely crushing it. I think dominating relationships with AI through their just overwhelming market power and gravitas. It's all for the charitable trust anyway, right? I signed the giving pledge. I was rejected. Said, sir, we don't want your debt. I said, well, I'm willing to give it to you. I'm willing to give away 99% of my debt for the, future of the Walmart kids, the grandkids. These fucking people have so much money. Those Walmart great grandkids. Like each of 10 people, I think has 40 billion. I don't know what it is. It's crazy. Wish I was born rich and handsome instead of fat and stupid. Oh, no. The great Justin Malouk has joined us. Oh, I guess a letter with reference to next. The great Dan Sasek has joined us. Let's go. SoFi, amazing stock. Not buying Google in April is a missed opportunity. Despite, yeah, I was buying the hell out of it at 150, whatever. Trying to tell you guys best I could. What are other things, stress test? I would be trimming Hood. I mean, I would be trimming Meta. This is just me. I might be, I do think it's solid, but I would be trimming Nvidia. I would have sold Palantir if I owned a lot, but I'm too stupid to own a lot, so I'm probably too stupid to know when to sell it. So lead a horse to water, but better give that horse a cheeseburger. You're going to expect it to do a lot of chores. That's what I always say. Oh, man. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about, but I was going to look at a few other stocks, but I just think SoFi, it's a steal here. It really is. I mean, if you look at why does it have these multiples forward EPS, you have to take management's word for this EPS explosion, because it's happened with EBITDA, it's happened with revenue. You have to see it coming. They've paid for everything. All those fixed costs that they've been paying for these years, they've dialed everything in, and now they're going to be in what Neo calls harvest period, where they're harvesting profits at an increasingly alarming rate. As these marginal revenues come in over time, more and more of those marginal revenues are going to go right to the bottom line. And Anthony Noto's talking 20% profit. Eventually, I think SoFi is going to be a lot higher than that. I don't think bank really describes this. So bank is just foundational basis for this insane fintech, AI, lending platform, all this other stuff. Noto just had the vision to say, we have this opportunity. This is going to give us durable competitive advantage for years or decades to come, lower our cost of capital, increase our profit margin. It's a no-brainer. And I have great hair, and you guys all suck. It's like, you peons suck, and Chamath has too many shares. Like, I want some of those Chamath shares. I don't know, dude. Chamath's a lot of smoke and mirrors. A lot of his companies. I mean, SoFi is a great company, but a lot of his companies went right to shit. A lot of money burned. But dude's laughing all the way to the bank. I don't think he even has man boobs. I don't see how he's so successful without the aid of man boobs. But guys, you can just read any article on historical stock market multiples and where things stand. Is AI, the question you have to ask yourself, guys, why after the dot-com bubble did stocks go from like 2001 all the way back to 2009 and hit that exact same level back, like NASDAQ 1200 again? From NASDAQ 5,000, NASDAQ 900, NASDAQ 4,000, NASDAQ 1200. Why does it come full? Why does the market test for a full decade? Things run in long cycles. We have such short attention spans. Our expectations are, I think, so far out of whack. You see a stock 10x for you, and you're just like, well, it's just going to keep going up forever. Based on what? If you're Nvidia, maybe. If you're Palantir, I don't think so. If you're SoFi, I think you're undervalued. If you're SMCI, I think you're going to continue rapid growth. If you're CRISPR, I think you're completely changing the future. I think the opportunity there is absolutely massive. I think the stock is just dramatically undervalued. And it's 23% short interest on CRISPR. Why? There's no debt, long runway, incredible data keeps coming in vivo program, that platform is right around the corner. I just don't get it. I don't get, you could see it. SoFi wanted to go through 30. CRISPR definitely wanted to go up through 80. They stepped on this thing. They clipped its nuts. But you see this critical pivot, guys. It was resistance back here, July. And then it's trying to find support at this level now. This is about, 8 or 9 trading days, fought back really hard to close back above this level. I think the uptrend just continues. I mean, it's trying to make this, see how it made this flag here, came up, pulled way back, and then it made this little flag or whatever you want to call that, consolidation, blah, blah, blah. Well, I think this could very well be the same thing, but I think this flag is going to be a lot more bullish. This is a stock where news of a buyout, a deal, data can drop and send this thing moon any day. And with short interest above 20%, I don't have to tell you geniuses what could happen. Now, it could flop and it could go back down into this lower channel, that it traded in back down here below the $53, $54 level. It could do that because you see how critical this pivot is down here at 53, 52, 54, that general vicinity. but I don't see it. This is just too good a company. There's too much on the horizon, and quite frankly, big pharma needs CRISPR more than CRISPR needs big pharma. There, I said it. So I don't know. Yeah, that's CRISPR. And also, you see, this again, critical data. It's just going to keep coming out and keep coming out because their platform edits problem genes and makes them right again permanently, safely, efficiently. And they do it at quite a high cost, which hopefully will one day benefit, CRISPR shareholders. But the stock's made a big move. I mean, I'm up, I think, I don't know, 60% on this stock, 50% overall. I was up more, could have sold it, but, I definitely don't like short-term capital gains. I'm working on my taxes. My God, what a bloodbath. One of the disadvantages of making as much money as I do year after year in the markets, just absolutely destroying the markets, just destroying my freaking bank account because I don't want to sell these stocks. So I got to sell enough blood and semen to keep the IRS and the franchise tax board happy. Hey, we're your buddies down at the franchise tax board over here. We were tacking over a couple of bullish tags. We noticed you have an outstanding balance too. Just wanted to reach out and just ask if we go ahead and expect payment from you, Danny. Like, oh yeah. Who is this? Phil, you change, man. You change. Yeah, no, I'll pay you guys. Sure. I'm good for it. That's the UnPocoMas when I send in my payment. Forget to sign my check cleverly. Like we cash it anyway, dumb. It all goes through electronically. Cleared by 8 cents. Hoping I would have enough left for a fresca, but no dice. Guys, does anybody know what this show is about? Does anybody know the meaning of life? I know it's not man boobs. Guys, if my stocks all go up 300% tomorrow, I'm going to go to the islands. Just retiring to the islands. You'll never see me in Princess J again. She'll be chilling in a 5-star. I'll just be straight man boobing with native large peoples who know how to work with man boobs like men. Not little girls trying to like swim with a shirt on, afraid of a shirts and skins basketball game. Came to your island on the trade winds. Definitely not afraid of a little man boobing. What's going on? Of course, Nala speaks the truth. We all knew that. Yeah, dude, you got to cut back on YouTube, not a lurker. Start with this channel. This thing's a total piece of crap. Justin Maluk will tell you. I think he used to own the Sacramento Kings, the Hard Rock Hotel. Good guy. What do we got? Who do we got on the bat phone? Yeah, thank you. I think without Princess J and not a lurker, I would just die of like dehydration. I definitely wouldn't starve to death. Have enough stored body fat for a fortnight plus 3 to 4 winters. I take my cues from the polar bears. It's the great Jeremy R. Miller. Retiring on Nebius Iron Combo. SMCI still wallowing. Depends where you bought. I mean, remember SMCI came off like 18. It's still holding over 50. So it's actually, holding like 3x off the bottom. It's not too shabby, but like a year later. So, but it just all depends when you bought. I mean, of course, nobody catches every run right at the bottom. I certainly don't. But this is, again, guys, this is why I caution you guys. And people keep asking me, are you buying GameStop? Are you buying AMC? Are you buying Open? Are you buying Bitminer? I've had like a couple shares of Bitminer, but you have to stay away from the garbage with no fundamentals when the times get bad. Now, when times are good and the Lambros are, jerking each other off in a sauna somewhere, doing big lines of Coke off each other's, Apple bags, everybody's happy. Am I right? But when times get, and I'm seeing signs out there. I'm seeing people's, just anecdotally, I'm seeing people get their credit cards rejected. I'm seeing like repo trucks in neighborhoods where there's never been repo trucks down at the beach. I'm seeing, car companies trying to put 0% interest to move these cars they can't move on their lot I'm seeing panic. It's like a little bit under the surface right now, but I'm seeing industries starting to panic. And then you have farmers getting wiped out by this trade war with China, and we're threatening, just deepen the trade war. I think the economy is in much worse shape than people think, simply because certain sides of corporate earnings are propping up the illusion that everything is okay. And if you own a bunch of stocks and you have a great job and you're sort of in that upper, 1/5 or whatever, maybe upper 1/4, you're going to be fine. Now, if you're in that sort of second fourth, maybe the second 20 percentile, the second quintile, if you will, you're going to be okay. I don't think people are looking at a 1929 style. You're not going to have a 1929 style crash because these companies are making money, and that's what the stock market is based. But the problem is there's so many people who aren't participating at the bottom, and you have, the policy right now is trying to take away the entire social safety net, healthcare. You have, and you combine this with like the high rents. And it's just, how are these people, how is it going to survive? And if the people at bottom implode, demand is going to implode. It's going to drive the economy into recession. Like, well, they don't have saving. They don't have skin in the game. It doesn't matter. It definitely matters. Everything is interconnected. There's a reason, successful Western capitalist democracies that are, happy and, fruitful and delightful, they have social safety nets. You don't want mobs, roaming the streets, burning, anything they can find for warmth. That's not the society you want to live in. That's an unstable society. And an unstable society is bad for markets, is bad for everything. So you have to reach a balance, where policy makes sense. It's not about just trying to, take blood from a stone or whip the poor. Yeah, the billionaires, guys, they're going to be fine. I'm not one of these guys like tax the rich. Well, I have nothing against the rich. Most of the wealthy people innovate, made their own money. Now, a lot of the very wealthy people, I was talking about the Waltons, they inherited a lot of money, but I think that's just part of the game. I think that's just part of the chance. I was blessed with short, fat legs and a face for radio. They were blessed with like an $18 billion trust fund and a 12-inch pianist. You know what I mean? Late night, debatable. The rich people are doing great with money. Alcohol and sedatives to party. They used to rank us in the forced quintiles. Yeah, I like to force my quintile. It's like, anyway, so what about Neo? I don't know. This has just been an absolute boomerang, absolute zipper job that the market makers are not getting off this, but volume was pretty good there at the end. They dipped it. This is the sort of similar thing they did to CRISPR, less severe with SOFI. But, this stock was really wanting to go through $8, and the shorts, again, just completely stepped on it. You guys want to take a look at some short interest just for shits and giggles? Nothing was working yesterday. So SOFI, noticed the shares on loan have come up from 65 million in September to 107 million now, which is a pretty big increase. Not for nothing. Okay. All right. Thank you so much, the Not a Lurker. Guys, send a shout out to Not a Lurker. Send him a thumbs up. Send him a big bald head of appreciation because, best wrench in the business. Like I said, who else makes it? I don't have my Not a Lurker hat right now, but I definitely do have a Not a Lurker FinTech wrench hat. Thank you, J Money. I'm working on it, Justin. I'm reluctant because, Prop and Iowa, I threw those stocks out because I was buying them and I still own them and I'm happy I own them. I know they're down. But I don't want you guys to just get into like all these penny stocks I buy and think they're going to like make you rich because, I'm so rich and handsome and charming and everything like that. And you guys want to be like me. You guys are trying to wonder how you can man boob for fun and profits. Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Yeah, we all love Not a Lurker, don't we? He is fire. The Maloofs. Those Maloofs. Those are sort of ugly guys doing a lot. There was something, the ex-wife got the hotels or something. So anyway, so SoFi, yeah, they're shorting again today. Shares on loan are way up, leading me to believe they could attack the stock after earnings. They always attack the stock after earnings, but I'm expecting a huge blowout. Let's take a look at what they did with Neo today. You have you have return, actually a lot of shares being returned. I don't think they want to short much under 7 on Neo right now because they saw the stock had a lot of buyers approaching 8, so probably not a wise move. And you can see the shares on loan continue to stay low on Neo, though short interest has crept back up quite significantly on the stock. Let's take a look at CRISPR just for chits and giggles. Go over to the short interest. You have CRISPR. They shorted just tiny bits, basically flat, shorting and borrowing. Cost to borrow max raising significantly throughout the day. They're just really playing games with this stock. Shares on loan continue to plummet. Short interest has sort of stabilized, but is at a low for this stock, but still 22% of the free float utilization, still running 85%, a very high short score on this one. So definitely keep your eye on it if you're so inclined. What else we got? Prop, CRISPR, any other stocks you guys want to take a look at? Let's take a look at SMCI, what the shorts are doing with that one, because they always have their panties in a twist for SMCI. So take a look at the short. Looks like they're returning shares on this one and returning a bunch of shares and taking a bunch of shares off loan. So it just doesn't look like there's much of an appetite to push SMCI back down under 50. And you see that reflected again. The shares on loan have fallen just over the last 3 months from 142 million down to 91 million. So it's a reduction of 50 million shares on loan. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. And you see the short interest has fallen from 96 million less than a month ago down to 85 million. So again, that's a very, very, significant drop. It's about a 13% drop in the short interest just over the last 3 weeks. So that's not leading me to believe they're comfortable attacking the stock because, Blackwell rollout, profits, margins, all those things are very, very likely to increase. Let's take a look at that, Chris. Shooting on over to props up to $1.90, just screaming off $1.80. Now this stock's way too low, but I'm actually gonna start nibbling again. I just had other priorities, too much work, too much other stuff I was trying to buy. But yeah, let's take a look. So they shorted a bunch today. Wow, shorted a ton of shares, increased the short by 6%. My gosh, cost to borrow is up. What is really going on? They are out for blood. Look at the short interest, man. Way back up to these highs. This is this is why I believe this is mechanics at work and they're going to run the stock up, because there's no meat on the bone shorting this stock heavily from $1.80. Where are you going to short it to? The stock definitely has assets. They definitely have a value. I mean, this company I don't think is worth less than 0, but that's how they're trading it. That's how they're treating it. They're like, oh no, we treat our redhead stepchild much better than prop. It's not an exact science. Does share on loan include shares on loan is an official. You guys have to read how they calculate those numbers. Shares on loan does include shares owned on margin. I believe the answer is yes in terms of Vortex. I believe the answer is yes. I don't use it like that though to try to get absolute quantities and take the temperature. I use it to get the direction, to get the gauge, to take the temperature, to get the sentiment. Because it's not like when you see Vortex reconcile the data between their estimates and the actual numbers once the exchange puts it out with a 2-week delay, it could be way off and off. No, sometimes it's fairly accurate, but they just all those data sources, it's not an exact science at all. And I think they're very good at what they do, and it's useful, but it's just as how to use it. And it's not to get sort of quantifiable measurements of what the short is doing on data. It's sort of what were they doing relative to yesterday? What were they doing relative to last week, last month? I don't think it's a tool. I hope you know what I'm saying. I hope that makes a little bit of sense. So hard to say. They always hit SoFi after earnings and sell it off. Personally, I think this earnings report is going to be so compelling. I think the stock goes up through 30, stays up through 30, and maybe pushes up quite a bit. I think SoFi has tricks up their sleeve. I think they have, and I think they're going to. I remember what they promised earnings in a certain quarter. You can engineer accounting so it looks better in one quarter, and I think this quarter might be that quarter. It might be that absolute breakout quarter that sort of reprices SoFi in an upper tier valuation. AI, fintech, cash and checks, breaking necks. It's a Catalina wine mixer. That's all I can say. Lou Beniz and Kovalek and John Bison the other day, a month ago, Josh publicly trashed Prop on X and said he'd never touch it. Very interestingly, got the two of them on a stupid pod. Danny, please do tell him to see. Iovot, you're waiting for data on the solid tumors, on the new programs. You're waiting for data on basically how many patients they've been able to treat. Last quarter, I think it was 100. I mean, obviously, we're looking for an increase there. You're looking for these ramps take time, but there is a massive, massive potential with Iowa. There was a good write-up on it. It's basically going to be hugely profitable, or it's going to go completely bust. And that's how penny stocks are. Most of them go down in flames and you lose all your money. Is Iowa Biotherapeutics stock your ticket to becoming a millionaire and Motley Fool? I mean, it's getting a little bit more action in the press. Simply Wall Street, Motley Fool, just talking about essentially how the stock is, I think, dramatically undervalued based upon the potential, but it's a longer term potential. All these other solid tumor programs they have in their pipeline. And guys, if the implication from me was you thought like Iowa and Prop were like stocks I was trading based upon the chart, and I thought it was just going to like spike up here and pump and dump or something, that's not how I am. Like I'm not into like Open and AMC and GameStop and all these. How do you know when to get on, when to get off? I mean, I'm not privy to these kids on Wall Street bets. I don't have a Reddit. I don't have a Discord. I almost want to join the Stock Goats private thing to see what that's all about. He's talking about the returns he's making. Love the Stock Goat. You do not know on these clouds. Some of them get, if all it takes is one big pharma to see the potential in their pipeline, see the writing on the wall that it could be huge. They are definitely, it's there because the novel approach they have. If somebody sees the value in it, the company's like worth almost nothing. It's not even worth $1 billion right now. Market cap wise, 774 million. So that for a big pharma company, that's a rounding error. If they see the value. Yeah, I see the value, but that doesn't mean anything because I don't make the market. I don't mean jack or shit. So if they hit SoFi by a couple thousand, yeah, if they really hit it, like push it back down to 20 and there's a great ER, I'm just going to go back all in completely. I'm going to get out of other stuff. I mean, I'll sell Microsoft, I'll sell Tesla. That's how much I believe in SoFi in the future. I think SoFi is ultimately percentages. Pick your players and compare your positions. As talking likelihoods, SoFi I think is going to be a giant company that stands the test of time. I think it's more likely than Hood. I think it's even more likely than Palantir. You just don't know where these things are going to go. They're evolving too fast. What SoFi does is a well-known commodity, but they're doing it in a new, more efficient way that people are responding to. And that's the bottom line. And they're building it right. They're doing that hard foundational work. They're not pumping the stock with everything that's gold-plated and shiny and sexy. They're keeping their standards high with a long-term focus and mindset. That's why I like SoFi so much. That's how I invest. That's how I think. Now, if a stock runs up and I can make a bunch of money on calls, sure, I'm perfectly willing to do that if that opportunity is in front of me. But most of the time, in most markets that are sane, I like to sell options and I like to hold stocks long term. So that's me. I'm a conservative, man-boobing fat guy by my very nature. Great Jordy Sanders has joined us off of a 3-yard run. If it will save lives instead of treating illness, will they buy it and shelve it? No, it's just they can't do that, Jordy. That's sort of a myth. That's like a thing from the movies, like Keanu Reeves. Oh, we have the cure for cancer here. We're gonna put it in a safe, and there's too much information these days. It's not what you physically have, it's the information. It's how to do it. It's not the bomb, it's the knowledge. It's not the virus, it's the knowledge. Because anybody can find the material and recreate whatever, as long as they have, the knowledge of how to do it and the technical expertise. Yeah, JAGX. That's, I mean, and ever since I've been making JAGX videos, I've said, I think very clearly, maybe besides the first couple, do not buy this stock. It's the worst management, the worst. That stock, I know this sounds made up, but like, just look at this, guys. Just look at this. It's crazy. All time, JAGX has gone from $2.5 billion a share down to $2.13. And that's just since 2015. So in 10 years, the share value has gone from $2.5 billion per share down to $2 per share. And somehow these people stay out of prison. This is all legal. I don't understand how. I mean, I guess you know what you're buying. You're grown up. Put on your big boy pants. Oh, this JAG. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't bought any in so long. Like, the shares I had were like worth like probably $10,000. Now they're worth like $2. Yeah, I still have some shares, unfortunately. They're worth almost nothing, as you can see. I mean, I'm not like buying down here or anything. I haven't bought this turd in a long time. Oh my God, what a piece of crap. But anyway, that's how it goes, guys. I mean, like I said, with penny stocks, I try to be honest. Like 9 out of 10, you're going to go to 0. And that 1 out of 10, you're looking for just a massive home run that makes it all worthwhile. But it's just a gambling fix, That's really what penny stocks are. Chris Norland is right. Anyway, guys, I got to go. I got to pee. I've been drinking too much water. Thanks, Not a Lurker. Thanks, Princess J. You are the absolute best. Thank you to the rest of you. It's UnPocoMas. Y'all heard.